Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph. So today I wanted to talk about my winter reading plans plus my library haul / everything that I have checked out from the library because those are included in my winter reading plans. Some of them I checked out so that I could try a few chapters to see if I wanted to incorporate them in some video ideas that I have. But otherwise, many of these library books I want to get to as soon as possible, or I'm currently reading them. Okay, so currently on my Libby, I have The Ruin of Kings. I have both the ebook and the audiobook because I have been immersion reading this. So I've been wanting to physically read it while I listen to the audiobook. I technically have a physical copy of this as well, but it's been a lot easier to just read it on my Kindle while I'm listening. I also have the audiobook for Arrows of the Queen by Mercedes Lackey. So I did a World Hoppers, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And on there, Sophie was talking about Mercedes Lackey, and they are a Robin Hobb fan as well. So this was like another classic fantasy series that I really want to get into. So I'm going to be reading the first one. I got the audiobook and I just recently purchased the bind up of the first 3 books in the Arrows series. And if you're actually curious about Mercedes Lackey, Sophie has a introduction video, which I'll link down below. But basically this year, for whatever reason, it kind of just came up. I decided I wanted to dabble in some classic fantasy. Speaking of classic fantasy, I'm also going to be trying to read Dragon's Bane, and this is actually for a video that I am in the middle of, so I'll be reading it very soon. Dragon's Bane is by Barbara Hamley. This is another one that gets compared to the Farseer trilogy. I'm not sure if it's because these are women in the 80s and 90s writing fantasy, or if they actually substantially have some of the same themes. I'm really excited actually because classic fantasy seems to work for me really well. Well, the ones written by women. There's a difference. I also have the audiobook and the ebook of The Name of All Things because as soon as I finish The Ruin of Kings, you can tell I'm liking it. I'm going to jump straight into the second one. So that's what I have checked out from Libby. In terms of Hoopla, if you didn't know, Hoopla is another audiobook service that the library provides for you. Hoopla is not made the same at every library. It all depends on the package that your library buys. So some Hoopla packages are really amazing and they have a lot of things. Some only have like music, television. So I normally listen to audiobooks on there and read comics on there because they have a lot of comic books. So I currently have checked out Elantris by Brandon Sanderson because I'm reading that with my Patreon. So I got the audiobook. There's also, if you like these audiobooks, they also have the dramatized version on there. I also have all of the ACOTAR books checked out right now because I will be reading ACOTAR this month for the House of Massillon, and the dramatized versions of the ACOTAR series are also on Hoopla. And then I also have A Court This Cruel and Lovely, which I just recently finished. And then I have some physical library books. So I have Harvest House. This is the same author who wrote Hearts Unbroken. And from what I remember, this is a horror book. It may be like more contemporary than horror, but it's supposed to have some horror elements. So I picked this up, and along with that, I picked up Of Light and Shadow, which this is the same author who wrote Hunted by the Sky, which I still have and I want to read, but this one was just so intriguing. So I think I want to do a video where I'm trying to fall back in love with YA because I just haven't really been reaching for YA. And some of the YAs that I have read, I've either DNF'd or I just haven't enjoyed that much. But there are a few out there, like these two, that have just been really intriguing to me. And I think I want to do a video where I try to fall back in love with YA. The next 4 library books I kind of got because they were out of my comfort zone. So I got Mamie, and this one is less so out of my comfort zone and more so it reminded me a little bit of Queenie, which I really did enjoy when I read it back in 2020. So this one is supposed to be like a contemporary novel about a woman sort of going through the messy parts of life. And then I have The Collected Regrets of Clover. This is about a death doula. That was very intriguing to me. It is, I think, a historical fiction. This might have actually been just in the literary fiction section, but for some reason I'm associating this with historical fiction. This next one is purely because Kayla was talking about how the twist blew her away, and that is The Other Side of Night. So I'm really intrigued by this. It's not necessarily something I would have picked up, I guess, and I've never read anything by this author, but I was really intrigued and it was at my library, so I picked it up. And this last one that I have from the library is The God of Endings. And the thing is, this book haunts me because it's always in the 50% off, which I'm like, why? why is it always in the 50% off at Barnes & Noble? But I have heard good things. I know Kayla really enjoyed this. I don't know if it was like a favorite for her, but I know she enjoyed it. And it's supposed to be about a vampire, but I think it's supposed to be more of a historical fiction. It says, this astonishing first novel weaves a story of love, family, history, and myth as seen through the eyes of one immortal woman. Oh, she's immortal. Maybe she's not even a vampire. So yeah, I don't really know if this is my thing, but it haunts me, so I had to get it from the library. So that's everything that I have checked out from the library. I do want to get to those things within the next few months, but I also have some other priority reads that I want to get to as well. Since I was speaking about the YA video that I want to do, another one that I really want to read for that video is Song of Silver Flame Like Night, and this was 50% off, so I ended up getting this, and this is on Roger's recommendation. It was also that same World Hoppers where we were talking about Mercedes Lackey. Roger talked about how this was one of his favorite books of the year. I think it was like one of his more surprising reads, and he ended up really loving it. I saw it at Barnes & Noble. I was like, you know what? I need to get it. So I did. And I really hope that I love it. So I'm gonna try to read it for that video where I'm trying to fall back in love with YA. I'll also be rereading Mistborn once I finish Elantris. So I'm excited to retry this. I enjoyed it the first time that I read it, but it was one of those situations where I read it, enjoyed it, and then never felt like moving on with the rest of the series because it almost feels like this contained novel. So I'm excited to move on because I have heard that the ending of the series is like one of the best series finales that most people have read if they enjoyed the series as a whole. I always just hear the ending is really great. So can't wait to get to that. A couple other fantasies that I want to get to during the winter, although this kind of screams summer for some reason, but it's Ascendant Songs of Chaos Book 1. So this is a dragon book. That's what intrigued me. I've been seeing it in the bookstore forever. I finally got it, and now I would like to read it sooner rather than later just because I am so excited about it. I would also really like to get to Sons of Darkness. So they just released this really beautiful copy of this book, and it was picked up by a traditional publisher, but I actually have the original published book of this. I've had it since it came out. So now having the physical copy and it being so beautiful, I'm just very excited to finally pick this up. So I would love to pick it up in the winter season. I also want to finish, because I have started this, The Lies of the Ajungo. So this is just a small little novella, but it is so good so far. I haven't read that many pages. I think I read like 10 pages, and it was so good. It was so gripping. So I'm excited to continue on with this one. And I think the second one comes out soon. Another fantasy book that I absolutely have to get to in the winter season, and I don't have my physical copy with me in this room, but it is Assassin's Fate. This is the last book in the realm of the Elderlings that exists currently, and I've just been so scared of it. So I've been putting it off and I've been putting it off. I was supposed to read it so long ago, so I'm trying to hold myself accountable, but I'm just really scared. I'm scared to finish it. I'm scared for it to be over. I also need to get to A Study in Drowning. This is my Patreon book club pick. I'm not gonna lie, I have already started it and I'm not having the best time with it. So I've been putting it off, but I was already like 50 pages into it. I think I might just restart to see if maybe I was just in a weird mood. I don't really know. I'm nervous that I won't finish it, and this would be the first time that I've ever DNF'd a Patreon buddy read or book club, so wish me luck. Moving into romance, there are some romances that I want to get to. This first one I feel like is more literary fiction with some romance in it, I guess. But this author is often considered a romance author, I guess. I don't really know, but I will find out when I read it. But I want to read Conversations with Friends. I have never read a Sally Rooney, and I constantly hear things about Sally Rooney. Some of it feels like I will mesh with it well, and other things I hear makes me feel like I will not like it, so I'm nervous. But I'm trying to read a little bit outside of my comfort zone this year, so I wanted to try a Sally Rooney. Jared really likes Sally Rooney. I think he's read everything that she's published so far, and I am particularly intrigued by this book for some reason. So I also want to read Only When It's Us by Chloe Lees. This is the first book in the Bergman Brothers series. I read my first Chloe Lees over the holidays because I read Mistletoe Motive and I loved it. I loved it so much, and I just needed to read more Chloe Lees, so I ran out and got the first book in the Bergman Brothers series, and I'm so excited to finally read this one. I hopefully will be reading it by the end of January. I also really want to pick up Done and Dusted because small town romance is just It's my bread and butter. So I'm so excited to pick this one up. I feel like this is a 5-star prediction type of romance, you know, but who knows. I also want to read Courting Samira. There's something about this book that every time I would go into Barnes & Noble, I would read the synopsis and be like, yeah, this seems really fun. And then I would put it back and not buy it. And then I finally just did it. So I am excited. Friends to lovers isn't always my favorite trope, but this one just seems like it's gonna be really funny. Last for romance, I also have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I've just really wanted to read a Kennedy Ryan, so I'm hoping that I really love this one. I know that this is about saving a marriage, I believe, so like a second chance romance. Second chance romances I haven't really read too many of, so I'm curious how I'll end up liking it. I do know that this is supposed to be devastating, and I do like fun, light romances, but I also like heavy, devastating romances as well, so, you know, she's multifaceted. And then the last 3 books that I want to talk about, it's more of, I just hope that I'll get to them in the winter months, but I'm not too upset if I don't end up getting to them. Mainly because 2 of them are pre-orders that I don't even know when they'll get to me. And then the third one, it's mainly because I have such a long wait on Libby for the audiobook, and I've just really been enjoying reading these via audiobook. So the 2 that are pre-orders, these were highly anticipated books for 2024, and basically I told myself that if I had any highly anticipated releases, I had to pre-order them, and I couldn't just buy things willy-nilly in the bookstore because that's not what we're doing in 2024. Anyway, I really wanted to read Feybound. That is actually coming out so soon, and I'm hoping to read it in February along with Tempest of Tea. But Tempest of Tea comes out towards the end of February, so if I do read Feybound, I'll probably read those 2 closer together. And then this last one is the one that has like so many holds on Libby, so I don't even know when I'm gonna get it, but it's A Crown That's Cold and Heavy. As I said, I had just finished the 2nd book in this series not that long ago, like, I don't know, maybe a week ago. So I would love to go into the 3rd one soonish with fresh memories of the 2nd one, especially the cliffhanger, but I'm worried because the 4th one isn't out yet. I think it comes out in March or maybe May. It's the M months. And can I wait? Because she ends everything on a cliffhanger. So I'm like, should I just wait till the 4th one is about to come out to read the 3rd one? Okay, so those are my winter hopefuls. It's very ambitious, but winter is like 3 months long, so I'm sure I can get to a good portion of all of these. I'm trying to kind of do TBRs this year because Erin is so determined that I am a TBR person and not a mood reader. I don't know, what is a mood reader? What is a TBR person? I make TBRs, but it sometimes feels really daunting to have the TBRs, but then it also feels daunting not having any idea what I want to read. I don't know. So I thought, let's compromise, and I'll make winter hopeful videos and like a spring hopeful video, summer, fall, and we'll see if I stick to what I put on these lists. And then maybe we'll debunk me being a mood reader once and for all. Anyways, let me know down below what you are looking forward to reading in the winter months, and if you've made it this far and have nothing else to say, please leave a wolf emoji down below for Robin Hobb. If you know, you know, and I will talk to you next time, friends. Bye.